What is up, guys? Rick Cactus here, and today we are showcasing the new Iron Banner Pulse Rifle, the Clever Dragon. Now, I acquired this weapon out of one of the Iron Banner bounties that awards you with a random legendary Iron Banner weapon, and I was lucky enough to get the Clever Dragon. And I do mean lucky. This weapon, this Pulse Rifle, has blown me away. I absolutely love it, and this is coming from someone who, now somewhat foolishly looking, but I recently made a video showcasing the Trials of Osiris Pulse Rifle, the Blind Perdition. That thing's a monster. Like, it beat out the Hawksaw, like the Godroll Hawksaw, in the stats that matter. It comes with Snapshot if you get the depth version. It comes with high caliber rounds, helping you win 1v1s. Like, it is so good. And you may be thinking, why is this guy going off on a totally different pulse rifle? I thought we're talking about the Clever Dragon. But that's the point. That Blind Perdition is one of, arguably, the best pulse rifle in the game right now. It is so good. And I'm kind of enjoying using the Clever Dragon more. I put the Clever Dragon on, and I had a revelation. I was shown the path, shown the light of a proper pulse rifle, because this Clever Dragon murks people. It is so good. You can win so many 1v1s with this. I was blown away by how easily I was winning 1v1s. And possibly one of the main reasons for this is it belongs to arguably the best damage archetype for pulse rifles. It belongs to the same damage archetype as the very well known Grasp of Malok. Previous to the Iron Banner, the Grasp of Malok was the only infusible pulse rifle that belonged to this low impact pulse rifle damage category. And it was one of the best pulse rifles in the game. I don't think anyone's going to argue that the Grasp of Malok was top tier for pulse rifles and frankly primaries in general. But finally, with the rise of Iron, it actually has some competition. It has some more pulse rifles that fall within that same damage archetype. And the Clever Dragon is one of those pulse rifles. Now, part of the reasons why this gun is so good, potentially, this is going to be the crazy part, but potentially better than a Godroll Grasp, is the way the perks spawn on this weapon and what perks do spawn on this weapon. Now, I got my Clever Dragon to spawn with, firstly, Small Bore, going to increase the stability and the range at the cost of a little bit of magazine size. For the second tier, I'm picking Lightweight, and for the last tier, I'm picking Counterbalance. Now, this combination of Small Bore and Counterbalance really helps out this weapon. That's what makes, I would say, this pulse rifle so good. The version I have, I really enjoy using. I absolutely love Counterbalance on pretty much every weapon in Destiny. It makes it so that the recoil is completely vertical, which is way easier to control than if you're drifting off to the left or right. Much easier, especially with a pulse rifle. You have completely vertical bursts. You can just get headshots so easily. So I love Counterbalance. And Small Bore is no joke either. It increases the range of the Clever Dragon. And remember, this is the lower damaging archetype of pulse rifles. And the Clever Dragon with Small Bore, as you can see, has more range than the Hawksaw with Small Bore. That's insane. This archetype is supposed to have less range. That's one of the trade-offs. Not this time, not with the Clever Dragon. So the range stat of this weapon means that you're going to be able to use a fast-firing pulse rifle out to easily medium and even longer range engagements. But here is the crazy part about this weapon, and this should really put into perspective about how good this weapon is and how insane its potential is, especially in the Crucible. I think the roll I got is actually mediocre. Like, you could easily get a much better Clever Dragon. And again, that is one of the most insane parts because I am loving this weapon. I'm absolutely loving it. I am doing so well with it. And I have a mediocre version. The best way to explain this is that in the middle perk where I have Lightweight for goodness sakes, which doesn't do much, you can actually also get Snapshot or Quick Draw in that same perk category. Obviously, both of those perks a lot better than Lightweight in my opinion, but the absolutely most insane thing is that the perk right under Lightweight can actually spawn with high caliber rounds. High caliber rounds increasing the range, staggering opponents, and when you're putting this much lead, when you have a fire rate this high, you are causing so much flinch. And with high caliber, that flinch is going to be insane. Again, I was astonished by how easily I won 1v1s with this weapon, and that's without high caliber. So with that added into the equation, I presume this weapon could get only better. Furthermore, small bore may not be the best perk you can have spawn with this weapon. You can actually get in the slot below it braced frame, which is going to increase the stability by a much greater margin. So you can kind of see by what I'm explaining here and by the perks that can spawn with this weapon how big of a player this weapon is likely to be in the Crucible. I have a mediocre version and I am loving it, so it only gets better from there. Also, just a little tidbit of information, the Grasp of Malok doesn't actually have high caliber rounds in its perk tree. It cannot spawn with high caliber rounds. So that definitely gives an advantage to the Clever Dragon. I believe high caliber rounds is extremely good on pretty much any gun in the Crucible, really going to help you win those 1v1 engagements. And the fact that you have the Clever Dragon spawning with it and the Grasp not being able to is going to give a pretty substantial edge to the Clever Dragon, and again might kind of dethrone the Grasp of Malok in that damage archetype. Now again, I only have my one version and I've used it for a bit, and that's why I'm making this video, really to showcase to you guys how good this weapon is. Be on the lookout for it. For goodness sakes, if there's the next Iron Banner and the Clever Dragon is being sold, purchase that thing. Oh my goodness, buy it. You pretty much can't get a bad roll on it. The way the perks spawn always allow for stability and range to be increased pretty substantially. So unlike something like the Grasp of Malok where you're just deleting 90% of the versions because you didn't get the perfect spawn, the perfect spawn or the perfect perks is a lot easier to acquire with the Clever Dragon, and as I explained earlier, the mediocre version is doing pretty damn well on its own. Now that's pretty much all I want to say about the Clever Dragon. It's an insanely powerful pulse rifle, and I would highly recommend you check it out if you're lucky enough to acquire it. However, I do also want to say I've been really impressed by the drop rates for this Iron Banner. Like, I am getting legendaries left and right, it seems. I mean, not all the time, and some people do get a little bit more screwed than others, but again, I am seeing a lot of legendary drops for just playing the normal Iron Banner, and I feel that that is a hugely positive thing for the Iron Banner experience. There's been plenty of Iron Banners where the drop rates have been half, if not less, than what they are now, and it's just depressing. You're playing a game mode that, you know, some of the times you're not really enjoying very often, and you don't get a reward out of it. However, this time around, again, the drop rates seem to be very, very fair, and you're getting legendaries pretty damn often, and I have to definitely congratulate Bungie for upping that drop rate, because again, it's making the whole Iron Banner experience, like overall, because you're coming away with it with so much loot, it's making that whole experience more positive. So good on you, Bungie, for upping that drop rate substantially. Now, that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed and found this informative. Now, if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you want to see more Destiny content similar to this, including an upcoming review on the Iron Banner Scout Rifle, to which I have the absolute god roll for and it looks fucking incredible, definitely hit that subscribe button. Now, if you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.